Hi everybody, welcome to week 2 of our Connect Group series on Love Your Neighbour. Hopefully you really enjoyed last week, really enjoyed seeing maybe somebody that you know or somebody in a location that you attend talking about how they've really loved their neighbour or how they've really received the love of a neighbour during this period of lockdown. This week we're going to look at how Jesus expands our view of our neighbour. That when he's telling us to love our neighbour, he's not necessarily talking about our geographical neighbour on the left or the right, that he's expanding our view of who our neighbour is. So essentially we're called to love all people as if they were our neighbour. So we're going to watch some great video clips from people across all our locations again this week about what they've learned about loving their neighbour and how they're going to carry this into their new normal. Hope you enjoy them.
You know, what I've learnt about loving my neighbour during this time of COVID-19 lockdown is that we can stop, take time out of our busy day to bring tea or coffee to our neighbours and to talk with them, those that were stuck inside, having coffee, bringing my own flask and talking to them so that they too had somebody to see during the day. Also, I've enjoyed physically distance walking with my neighbours, one in particular who was very lonely. And I'm going to take this forward into my new normal.
What I have learned about loving my neighbour over the course of the pandemic is that it really is the work of Christ to be able to support those in need. God calls us to minister to those who are in need, and I don't think we do enough, personally. I'd like to do more.
During these last 3 months, what I've learnt about loving my neighbour is that there's much hidden need out there. There's many questions, but there's many grateful to have a little time spent with them.
What we've learned in this pandemic about loving our neighbours is that sometimes they say no thank you, and we have to learn to respect their decision and allow them to live their lives the way they want to. But we tell them that we're here, that we love them, that we can organise help for them through our church and through our friends. But if they say no, that's fine, that's okay. So we just keep respecting them, we keep loving them, and we keep holding them up in our prayers.
What I have learned about loving my neighbour over this pandemic is that having the courage to initiate an interaction is important. Whether that is just a smile, a hello, or a brief conversation, and to do this consistently. I'm going to carry this into my new normal by making a point of leaving the house a few minutes earlier, just so that I can initiate those conversations.
One thing that we would like to continue doing is just checking in on our neighbours before we head out to a shop and asking them, is there anything we can pick up for you while we're out?
What I've learned during lockdown, and I'll be taking out of this pandemic, is to take more time to be around, to connect with neighbours and just walk at a slower pace and just connect with people and be able to be there for people. I've met so many more people in the areas that we live just by taking a bit more time, a bit more interest and a bit of a slower pace. I want to take that out of lockdown too.
During this pandemic, I've learned that it's really easy to build relationships with our neighbours. It just takes a little bit of time, and with a slower pace of life, it's been really easy to give them the time and kind of really grow with that. That's one thing that I want to take on when life gets a little bit more normal. I just want to be able to carry on giving the time into that.
What I've learned about loving my neighbour during this pandemic is that even the smallest gestures count, like giving someone flowers because you know they've been working really hard. And I'm going to carry this on after the pandemic just to really show your appreciation for people.
I have learned during this pandemic that we should love everyone without any judgment, especially our neighbours, and just be there for them no matter what.
I think what I'm going to bring out of lockdown in regards to our neighbours is just to make sure that when I see them in the street or see them as they're coming and going, as they go back to work, is that make sure I always say hello to them, and it's not just a wave or a smile, but it's an actual conversation that I have with them and to check in and see how they're doing.
What I've learned over this pandemic is that people love to have a conversation, that they're open to having a chat with you about all kinds of things, and they can be overwhelmed with when they receive a blessing.